The Innovation Farms Ontario videos and podcasts are sponsored by FCC's Ag Expert. To learn more, visit agexpert.ca.
So I'm going to start us off. My name is Kate Baresich. I'm the digital media specialist at Haggerty Ag Robotics. I study at Sheridan College in Oakville. I've done 2 years of general visual arts, and I'll be starting my Bachelor of Illustration in September. I've been working with Haggerty for a couple years now, and I also work on our family's farm. I do the custom application of fertilizer for myself and my family, and for some customers in our area. My main job at Haggerty Robotics is to manage the social media accounts. We have 5 accounts across 3 platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. So I manage the main ones with the exception of the Haggerty Techs account, which is run by the Techs. One of the things I was able to do this summer was myself, along with Curtis, we had the opportunity to do a social media consulting sessions, and with that, we were working on making a cohesive company appearance across all of our social media platforms, and making sure that we were becoming we had a more noticeable presence online. So one of the first things I did with that was to come up with a brand palette for Haggerty Ag Robotics. So these are the main colors and fonts that I use in the advertising and our posting and everything, so that we have a cohesive appearance across platforms. I also came up with a content schedule. So right now we're posting twice a week on all 3 platforms, just so that we know if we have enough content to post and what needs to go out when for promoting events and other things that Haggerty is doing. So these are just some examples of promotional materials that I made. So flyers for demo days, upcoming events, and then advertisements for the company. I work with Adobe InDesign to make my flyers. So this is just an example of our handout that we do and how it would look if I was working on it. So you can see all of the layers, which each one of those would be an individual block of text or an image or a shape on the page, and then the controls to format it. This is just a glimpse into my design process. So I usually start with a really, really, really rough sketch. It doesn't really look like anything. It's a little hard to tell, but in the sketch image, the top right rectangle is the closest to the actual design that I would do. And then I go in and I make a rough outline with colors to see if I like shapes, if I like colors, general layout. And then it's not done yet, but this is the working final. And you can see that even that is different than my plan. So I usually go through at least 4 or 5 different versions of these posters before I come up with a final one. My biggest project for this summer was to revamp the Haggerty Ag Robotics website. We had a pretty solid website already, but it was out of date, and we've done a lot since it had last had a big update. So I went through the entire website and I made point form notes about what needed to be added, what needed to be changed. And then I went into Adobe Illustrator and I rebuilt the whole thing just as flat pages so that I could arrange text and shapes and images in a way to make it easier to see, to plan, and decide where I wanted things to go before I moved on to the actual website. Along with that, I do a bit of photo editing. So I take a lot of photos for the company that are used on the website, on our social media, and for different articles and stuff that Haggerty puts out. So when you take photos outside, a lot of the time the colors and the exposure will be slightly mixed up because it's so bright. So I go through, I use Adobe Lightroom and I edit slightly just to bring the colors back to what it would actually look like in real life. So these are just a few examples. You can see I removed some objects, I fixed the colors, I fixed the lighting to make it look better. And that's it for me. So